everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Welcome to LitTalk, where we explore the layers and intricacies of literatures with expert and enthusiasts alike. So, for today's episode, shines a light on the nuanced art of understatement in storytelling, guided by Cristina Pantoja Hidalgo's insightful analysis in the art of understatement. So today, we're honored to have with us Professor Akeisha Quiñanola, a distinguished scholar in literary studies known for her deep dives into narrative techniques. So let us all welcome Professor Kish. Welcome to the show.
Hi, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to discuss this fascinating topic with all of you.
So let's start by setting the stage for our listeners. Professor Kish, could you please give us a brief summary of what Hidalgo's piece is all about?
Absolutely. Well, Hidalgo's piece revolves around a story written by Aurora Jimenez Rubio, which is critiqued by her professor and classmates for its beautiful prose, but noticeable lack of emotional depth and cultural specificity. Despite its technical perfection, the story leaves readers feeling unsatisfied, craving something more substantial. So Hidalgo uses this as a springboard to explore a wider implication of understatement in literature, particularly its power and pitfalls.
That's a great summary, Professor Kish. Now, upon reading, what were your initial thoughts as you read through Hidalgo's analysis?
Mm, well, my first thought was how relatable the concept of understatement is, not just in the literature, but in our daily lives. Hidalgo beautifully articulates the delicate balance between saying too much and not saying enough. It made me reflect on the importance of authenticity in storytelling and how the omission of certain details can either intrigue or frustrate a reader or a listener.
Wow, that's an insightful observation indeed. The balance between revelation and concealment is indeed a fine line to walk. Now, let's delve a bit deeper into the analysis of Aurora Jimenez Robi's story as presented by Cristina Pantoja Hidalgo. So, Professor Kish, Hidalgo notes that despite the story's technical perfection, there's a noticeable lack of emotion depth and cultural specificity. So, how do you interpret this observation in the context of literary understatement?
Well, Hidalgo's observation is quite astute. In literature, the power and its ability to suggest more than is explicitly stated, allowing readers to fill in the emotional and cultural gaps. However, Aurora's story seems to lean too much or too heavily on this technique to the point where the narrative becomes too vague, leaving readers craving the richness and emotional and cultural texture that are essential to a story to truly resonate.
Right. It's interesting how the story's technical perfection could actually detract from its overall impact. Professor Kish, would you mind walking us through the key elements of Aurora's story as presented in Hidalgo's analysis?
Certainly. So the exposition introduces us to Aurora's story, which is described as technically flawless in its language and prose. However, Hidalgo and the class of students she's critiquing, led by Professor Delvin Malay, quickly identify a sense of something missing, a lack of emotional depth and cultural specificity.
And how does this rising action unfold as the analysis progresses?
While the rising action centers around the class's attempt to pinpoint what exactly is lacking in Aurora's story, they engage in a thoughtful discussion, with various students proposing different interpretations, from suppressed emotions like resentment and anger to uh, disproportionate focus on relevant details.
Fascinating. So the narrative is really building towards some kind of climactic moment or revelation about the story, right?
Exactly. The climax of Hidalgo's analysis comes when Malay directly confronts the issue of understatement and whether Aurora's story has taken it too far. This leads to a deeper exploration of the roles of emotion and cultural context in effective storytelling.
And how do you think do the characters factor into this thematic exploration?
Well, the characters are crucial in unpacking the themes. Aurora herself, as the author of the story, represents the enigmatic and reserved nature of the narrative. Her classmates, with their diverse perspectives, serves as foils, highlighting the different ways readers can interpret and respond to the use of understatement.
I see. So the interplay between the characters and their varying reactions drives the thematic development.
Precisely. Hidalgo uses the classroom setting and the characters' discussion to explore the broader implications of understatement in literature. It becomes a platform for examining the delicate balance between subtlety and emotional and cultural resonance.
And the resolution or denouement of this narrative within a narrative, what does Hidalgo ultimately reveal about Aurora's story?
The denouement is quite poignant. You know, Hidalgo discloses that Aurora, rather than revising her original story as a sign, rather than allowing her story to live, rather than climbing the mountains, Aurora Rubio submits an entirely new work, a fairy tale about a little girl and her talking cat. This unexpected twist underscores the idea that Aurora may have been unwilling or unable to confront the emotions and cultural complexities that her original story had suppressed.
Fascinating. So, the resolution suggests a deeper layer of meaning and unresolved tension within Aurora's own creative process.
Exactly. Hidalgo's analysis doesn't provide a neat and tidy resolution. Instead, it leaves us with a sense of lingering questions and unspoken truths, mirroring the very essence of understatement in storytelling.
Wow, Professor Kish. Your insightful breakdown of the thematic and plot elements in Hidalgo's analysis has been incredibly valuable. It truly highlights the depth and complexity of this narrative within a narrative.
Thank you so much. Analyzing the structure and themes of Hidalgo's work has been a rewarding exercise, as it reveals the power of understatement to both captivate and frustrate, challenging writers and readers alike to delve beneath the surface of a story.
Absolutely. This discussion has been immensely enlightening. Thank you again, Professor Kish, for sharing your expertise with us today on Lit Talk.
It's been my pleasure. I'm grateful for the opportunity to explore the nuance of storytelling with you and your listeners. So thank you so much for having me. Or frustrate a reader or a listener.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Welcome to Lit Talk, where we explore the layers and intricacies of literatures with expert and enthusiasts alike. As I was particularly struck by Hidalgo's critique of the story's lack of cultural specificity. Do you think this absence distracts significantly from a narrative's impact?
Oh, definitely. Cultural specificity grounds a story. providing it with a sense of place and identity. Without it, a narrative can feel somewhat floating, disconnected from the very context that makes it resonate with readers. Hidalgo's critique underscores the importance of embedding stories within their cultural context to enrich the narrative and connect with readers on a deeper level.
I couldn't agree more, Professor Kish. So, the cultural backdrop of a story can add so much texture and depth. So, moving on, Hidalgo also touches on the emotional restraint in Romeo's story. So, what's your take on the role of emotion in the art of understatement?
Well, for me, emotion is the core of any narrative. The art of understatement doesn't mean the absence of emotion, but rather its strategic deployment. It's about evoking emotion in a subtle, nuanced way that invites readers to engage more deeply with the text. Hidalgo's piece really highlights how a story can technically excel while still missing that emotional connection that makes literature truly compelling.
Well said. It's that emotional resonance that often leaves a lasting impression on readers. So, Professor Kish, as we wrap up our discussion, what are your main takeaways from the art of understatement?
Mm, well, my main takeaway is the power of subtlety in storytelling. Hidalgo's piece serves as a reminder that the most profound stories often lie in what's not said outright. No, it challenges both writers and readers to look beyond the surface and find meaning in the silence. And additionally, it emphasizes the importance of cultural and emotional authenticity in creating narratives that truly speaks to and move readers.
Beautifully put, Professor Kish. Your insights have indeed added so much to our understanding of Hidalgo's work and the intricacies of understatement in literature. So, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me also. It's been a pleasure to explore and discuss this literary and nuance with you. So thank you for having me.
And to our dear listeners, we hope you've enjoyed today's deep dive into the art of understatement. May it inspire you to appreciate the subtleties and silences in your next literary adventure. So, until next time, keep turning the pages and exploring the depths of narrative.